Their voices are not heard. Their funerals are not seen. A revolution is underway to end one of the world's longest-running dictatorships, but we don't know the facts because the government of Syria keeps reporters away from its brutal crackdown. Tonight, we have a rare look inside. Since spring, thousands of Syrians have been demanding the end of the 40-year dictatorship of the Assad family. The UN estimates that since the uprising began, Syrian forces have killed 4,000 civilians. And just today, the opposition claimed 60 deaths in the city of Homs. Tonight, CBS News correspondent Clarissa Ward, who traveled through Syria without government supervision, shows us what President Bashar al-Assad doesn't want the world to see.
For months, this is what we've seen of the revolution in Syria. Cell phone video of demonstrations met with bullets from security forces. To meet the people holding those cell phones, we entered the country as tourists, carrying only a small camera. Razan Zaytouni is an opposition activist. She insists on using her real name. The regime already knows who she is. She is in hiding to avoid arrest.
Are you scared?
Who is not? But we have to continue. We decided to start our revolution. This is what we have been dreaming of long time ago.
She took us to the Damascus suburb of Douma, to the funeral of a 16-year-old boy these people say was shot by security forces at a protest the day before. Men and women poured in by the hundreds, their grief tinged with defiance.
This is real Syria, okay? If you come, you will see real bodies. They are not stones. They are not toys. They are real bodies.
They want international military support. And they say they will not give up their protest until President Assad's regime falls. A military helicopter circled overhead, but the chanting only grew stronger. We are peaceful and they are shooting us, they shouted. We want freedom. There's a special graveyard for protesters who have been gunned down in Douma. Here they're called shaheed, or martyrs. There are 60 graves.
A man just handed me this photograph. It's of a family member of his who was killed. He was only 13 years old.
The UN estimated in early November that at least 4,000 people have been killed. Activists tell us the number is much higher. But the violence has only fueled the protests, which are creeping closer to the heart of the capital.
Just outside of Damascus and suburbs like this, people are out here every single night, and they're demanding an end to the regime.
These protesters had rarely seen reporters from outside the country. They handed us notes. We don't shed tears for the martyrs, we shed tears for the cowards, one read. Later on, Razan introduced us to people who have paid a high price for demonstrating against the Assad regime. This 20-year-old was shot 3 times at this protest in July, captured on a cell phone. 5 months later, he is bedridden, but he says the minute he can walk, he will be back on the streets, marching for freedom.
Nizam al-Shaytan. He says the regime is the devil.
Certainly, it's a regime that shows no signs of lifting its crackdown on the opposition.
What's your message to President Assad?
Leave. Leave now, because you know that you will leave at the end, but with more victims and with more suffering of the people. So just leave and leave us to start our new future, our new country. You got enough of our blood.
Clarissa Ward joins us tonight. Clarissa, what do these people want from the Assad government?
Well, I think in the short term, clearly, they want for Assad's regime to be overthrown. But more broadly speaking, this is really a battle for freedom. And I spoke to one young man, and he said something that really stuck with me. He said, you know, the main purpose of this, all we really want is to be able to speak our minds without being afraid.
You were traveling alone, linking up with the opposition. Tell me a little bit about what that was like.
It's incredibly challenging because all of the opposition activists who I was with are wanted by Assad's forces. And what you don't necessarily see in that report are that just outside the capital, there are checkpoints every other block. And if these activists get stopped at one of those checkpoints, it means certain arrest.
Clarissa Ward, thank you very much.